it's Dana with Sullivan Family Homestead here, and today I'm going to talk about one of the aspects of spinning yarn. And basically what I'm talking about is this funny looking little contraption. It's called a Niddy Noddy, and this is actually a homemade one by my husband. It's made out of PVC pipe, and I can take the little bars off of it so that I can get my yarn off. But what this does is it helps you measure how many yards of yarn you have. And so for each side you have here is 1 foot. So with the way that you wind yarn onto this thing, it gives you 4 feet for each cycle. So you go up one side, around, down, over, back, and forth again, and it gives you 4 strands for 1 trip. So for every trip around this thing is 4 feet. So I'm going to show you guys how you wind yarn onto a Niddy Noddy, and then I'm going to show you taking it off and turning it into a hank of yarn. Okay guys, so I have my yarn already spun on my spinning wheel, and I've brought the tail off of the wheel, and I'm going to show you how to wind the yarn onto the Niddy Noddy. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to grab the tail and drape it over this first bar. We'll call this bar number 1. Okay, and then you're going to bring it down and loop it around bar number 2, bring it up the other side and over bar number 3, bring it back down and around bar number 4, so that when you come back up to meet the strand, you've got 1 foot on either side. Now this one's broken in half, but it's not actually going to matter because this equals 1 foot in general. Okay, so then you just repeat the process over again. You go up over the top, down around number 2, up around number 3, down around number 4, and that's 2 trips. There's 3, down, up, around, up again, down, up, around, up again. Okay, and so now at this point we have 5 trips around the Niddy Noddy. Okay, so you can count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now once you get all of your yarn wound onto the Niddy Noddy, you take the number of times that it's gone a complete circle, in this case 5, and you take that times 4, which will tell you how many feet it is. Okay, and so you take 5 times 4, and that gives you 20 feet. So right now I have 20 feet of yarn on the Niddy Noddy. And then if you want to find the yardage, you divide that number by 3, because there are 3 feet in a yard, and that gives you your yardage. Okay? Okay, when you get to the end, I always like to make sure that I stop back here right about where I've started, and I'll give it a couple of inches so that I can, you know, have enough to make sure it's an even foot. So I'll cut this yarn off right here and have this little tail, and I will cut this tail into a couple of pieces and use it to tie the hank together. Okay, so I'll show you how I do that too. Get my scissors here. And so I'm going to cut it off right there. And then I'm going to cut a couple of little strips of this yarn. Don't need that one. I'm just cutting it into a couple of pieces. Okay. And then you see here I have the beginning tail and I have the ending tail. I have the beginning tail tucked up in the yarn so that it's hidden. Okay, I take this piece of string, I separate the strands in half, I bring the string through so that it kind of loops over half of the strands. I wrap it once so that it secures it, and I tie it around the entire thing like that. Okay, so I'll tie it once here. Alright, so it looks like that. And then I tuck the tail in like this, and then finish tying off the knot. That way, whoever gets the yarn will be able to untie their hank and find the end right away. They don't have to search for it, because there's nothing less fun than having to search for the end of a hank and having it get all tangled up because you've not found the end, and instead you found a middle and you've pulled it loose, and ultimately you end up pulling it into a big ol' ugly knot. So, here we go. Just like that. Okay? And then I like to make sure that I've got it tidied up a little, so I'll just clip the ends of that tie, and there it is. Okay? And you can see that here is the knot, and here is the tail, and at this point you can tuck the tail in so that it folds nicely and it's hidden, but yet they can still find it when they untie it. Alright? So I've shown you how to tie off the first strand, and then I go to the opposite corner. Okay? So if I tied it on this one, I don't tie it on this one, I go to the back side and tie it right here. Alright? And I tie it the exact same way that I did the other one. Once I get this tied, I'm going to pull it off of the Niddy Noddy, and I'll show you how to twist it into a hank. Okay, so now most Niddy Noddies are actually made out of wood, but because my husband is really handy like that and I am really cheap like that, I had him make me one out of PVC pipe. The good thing about this is that when I want to take it apart, all I have to do is pull the arms off of it, stick them in a bag, and in a drawer they go, and it's done. So, when I've got my yarn tied up and ready, I pull the arm off one end, and I hang on to my yarn, and then I just pull it loose of the Niddy Noddy. And as you can see, the spinning job is pretty well done. It hangs nice and straight. If it were unbalanced, you would see it twist something similar to this when it comes off of the Niddy Noddy. But because we've got a nice balanced yarn here, it hangs really well. Okay, so now what do you do with the yarn after it's off of the Niddy Noddy? You've got it spun up really nice, you have it tied so it's not going to go anywhere, but you got to store it some way. This is kind of hard to pack away. Okay, so basically all you do is get your thumbs into either end, and I like to put the knots somewhere into the middle. I don't like them to be on the end because I'm kind of particular about that, and I like my yarn to look really neat and tidy, so I like the knots to be somewhere in the middle. Okay, but then all you're going to do is twist the hank just like that, and then twist it just a little more and it'll start to double over onto itself just like that. Okay, and then I pull my finger loose so that I can twist it another time on each end, and that helps finish the braid. Alright, at this point I'm going to tuck one end into the other end just like that. Okay, and then with a tiny bit of finagling, you've got your braid of yarn. Now this hank of yarn is ready to get weighed and tagged, and it's ready to go on the sale shelf. So there you go. That's how to use a Niddy Noddy and how to braid your own hank. So now you guys know. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please go down and click the subscribe button. Don't forget to click the little bell while you're at it so that you get notifications of when we have new videos out. And give us a thumbs up to let us know that we're doing okay. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye-bye.